Hey guys, it's Mr. Smith here again. We are going to do another reading, and this one is the International Space Station. So get your papers ready and we'll get started in just a second. Okay, here we are. Remember that before we start reading, the first thing you need to do is look at these vocabulary words and match them with their definition. If you need to look them up in the dictionary, then do that. I'm going to read this time from a printed out page so it's a little bit clearer than the screen. Reading. The International Space Station, ISS, is the largest space project and the biggest engineering venture ever undertaken. The station acts as a long-term research laboratory for space exploration. 5 space agencies with representatives from 15 countries work together to keep it running. President Ronald Reagan directed NASA to build the International Space Station in 1984. Building the station took longer than expected, mainly because the project was far more expensive than first estimated. There were also many problems with space shuttle equipment. Many parts were built on Earth, delivered by shuttle, and assembled in orbit. The station's first module was put into orbit in 1998. The first crew, an American and 2 Russians, arrived on November 2nd, 2000. A crew of at least 2 astronauts has been manning the ISS ever since. By 2003, the ISS had 6 modules, including living space for 2. In July 2004, the United States agreed to make a special effort and to enlarge the station enough to house 4 crew members. It also arranged for the launch of additional modules, such as the laboratory module, which was built by Japan. Today, the ISS is about the size of a football field. Up to 7 crew members can live and work at the station at one time. The ISS crew conducts space research and performs scientific experiments. Electrical power on the ISS is produced by almost an acre of solar panels. Many types of spacecraft visit the station. Most of the funding for the ISS comes from NASA, US, Roscosmos, Russia, and the European Space Agency. Japanese and Canadian space agencies also contribute funds. The amount of time astronauts get to spend on the ISS is directly related to their nation's contributions. Mission control centers from these nations support the station from the ground. The ISS is in orbit about 250 miles above Earth. It circles Earth about once every 92 minutes. Almost 85% of Earth can be seen from it. It's possible to view the ISS from Earth too. NASA has a Spot the Station service where you can receive an email or text message when the ISS is above you. The ISS is expected to stay in operation until at least 2024. After that, space agencies will decide whether to renovate and add to the ISS or start from scratch. All right, so there's our reading. Going back to the computer here. After our reading, you definitely want to answer these true or false questions. So they give you a statement, and if it's true, you write a T. If it's false, you write an F. We're not going to do this part because we don't have a partner. So we're going to go straight to C. And you look at these questions and you answer which one you think is the word or phrase with the closest meaning to the underlined word or phrase in the following sentence. So here's an example. 1. The International Space Station is the biggest engineering venture ever undertaken. Venture here is underlined. So the question is, which of these 3 is closest to venture? Travel route, adventurous project, or business expense? So you might have to look these words up. We're going to skip discussion, and hopefully when we have our video conferencing get together, we will talk about that. All right, guys. See you next time.